On a quiet Sunday evening, the kind where the weight of the week makes honesty unavoidable, a single careless sentence unraveled the life I had built with the man I once believed was my forever. I hadn't meant to wound him, and I truly didn't know he was near enough to hear. Yet the words slipped out, unguarded, and in an instant, everything we had carefully created collapsed. My closest friend, Sarah, had dropped by for an ordinary glass of wine. We sat in the warmth of the living room, wrapped in the hush of evening. I thought Nathan, my husband, was upstairs sorting through boxes in the storage room. That assumption gave me the false comfort to spill my thoughts freely. It wasn't so much a conversation as it was me unraveling. The wine loosened my restraint, and months of exhaustion surged to the surface. The constant arguments, the silence heavy enough to smother, the kind of weariness that sinks into the bones, all of it poured out like a flood breaking through a fragile dam. "I don't know, Sarah," I sighed, pressing my hands against my aching temples. "Some days I wish I hadn't married him." The instant the words escaped, a hollow ache twisted in my chest. It felt as though I had spoken a curse I couldn't take back. Sarah's eyes widened, her voice firm, almost pleading. "You don't mean that." But my silence told its own truth. Part of me did mean it, born out of suffocation, when love feels more like duty, and duty curdles into regret. Yet another part of me still clung to the love I thought I carried for him. What I didn't realize was that Nathan had been standing quietly on the staircase, absorbing every word. The next morning, something felt off. The air itself seemed wrong. The coffee pot remained untouched. His keys weren't in their usual spot by the door. His boots were gone. At first, I assumed he had simply left early for work, though unease crawled through me. Nathan never left without a goodbye kiss. Not even after our worst arguments. By midday, my anxiety had turned to dread. I called his phone. No answer. I sent a text. Silence. Out of desperation, I opened my laptop to write to his work email, but there was already a message waiting for me. The subject line carried just one word: farewell. "I overheard you last night," it began. "I wasn't meant to, but I did." Those weren't words of anger, they were your truth. And that truth broke me. I gave everything I had to us, and all this time, you carried regret. Don't try to find me. The divorce is already in motion. I'm not angry, I just won't be someone's mistake. Signed simply, Nathan. My breath caught as I reread his message again and again. There was no anger, no plea for forgiveness, no request for answers, only quiet finality. I rushed to his office, but he had already resigned that morning. His desk was bare. By afternoon, his phone was disconnected, his social media gone, his presence erased. Friends had no idea where he'd gone. Even his brother could only say Nathan needed space and wanted no contact. It was as though he had stepped out of existence. Days later, the divorce papers arrived in the mail, neat and impersonal. His signature was already on the line. All that was left for me was to check boxes and add my name. The end of our marriage became nothing more than paperwork. I expected fury to rise within me, or denial to shield me. But all I felt was crushing guilt. Memories surged unbidden. The way Nathan used to look at me as though I were his entire world. His patience when I withdrew. His steady presence when I faltered. And then, his face at dinner just days before, tired, distant, but still trying. He hadn't given up. I had. Sleep abandoned me for weeks. I replayed that moment on the couch with Sarah, dissecting it endlessly. Why had I said it? Did I truly mean it, or had I let exhaustion fester into something I mistook for truth? Months dragged by. Out of desperation, I hired a private investigator, but the trail went cold. No address. No financial trace. No life left to follow. Nathan had erased himself completely. Eventually, I began to understand. Hearing those words, especially when I believed he wasn't listening, wasn't just hurtful. It was clarity for him. It confirmed a reality I had quietly buried. My love had faded, and I had let it slip away without admitting it to either of us. When Nathan finally heard it aloud, he chose to walk away, protecting the last piece of dignity he had left. Now, I often wonder where he is. Has he built a new life? Does he wake up beside someone who sees him as their greatest decision, the one they choose again every morning? Because I know now, that's exactly who he was for me. But my realization came too late. Nathan disappeared to reclaim his peace, leaving me with nothing but the echo of my own thoughtless confession. Words I can never take back.